Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Thank you for joining me again today. I want to talk today about the God of losers, the God of those who don't have it all together. You know, that was such a problem in Jesus' day. From the religious crowd's perspective, God was only the God of those who got their act together. He was only the God of those who fully complied with all of the commandments and laws and restrictions, as the ones they interpreted them to be. Those were the insiders. Those were the ones. But those who didn't have their act together were on the outside. And they were on the outside until they came to a place of turning around and doing their best to be insiders. But Jesus came along and totally embraced those who didn't have it all together. I mean, story after story after story of men and women who, in the religious crowd's eyes, were losers, outsiders, the least and the last and the outcasts. Over and over and over again, Jesus embraces them. Jesus affirms them. Jesus includes them. The ones who didn't have it all together, and shockingly enough, even some of the ones who didn't care that they didn't have it all together. Those who weren't trying hard to get it right, to get their lives together, Jesus embraced them. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's just incredibly good news and an incredible revelation of the Father. All through the Old Testament, the prophets and the preachers and the priests, they all focused on people need to get their act together in order to be embraced by God. Or at the very least, if you're embraced by God, then by God you better get your act together. And Jesus came along and just blew that picture out of the water. Jesus, and I say this so often, but I think we have missed the significance of it sometimes. Jesus said, "Nobody has known my Father." Not the prophets, not the kings, not the priests. They haven't known my Father. Not really known him, not really understood who he is, not understood what makes his heart beat. And Jesus said, "Look at me and you'll see my Father. You'll see what's important to him. And you'll see that he is the God of the losers. He's the God, you see, wow. If you go right back to Genesis, when Adam and Eve sinned and sin came into the world, they became the great losers. We talk about the fall of humanity. They fell and they were losers, total outsiders. They didn't have their act together. And even after they made the big mess, they didn't get it together. They hid in the bushes, afraid of God. Rather than going to God and approaching him and asking for forgiveness or whatever, they still didn't get their act together. But what does God do? He comes to them in the garden and he says, "I'm going to give you words to encourage your heart. I'm going to let you know that Eve, through your offspring, there will come a Redeemer who will bring you back into relationship with me, who will reverse it, who will take you and all the other losers and bring them back into relationship with me." That is just amazing. I think that's just such an awesome picture of our God, the God who is the God of those who don't have it all together. And one of the reasons I think that's important, I think the longer we live as followers of Jesus, the more we realize how little we have it all together. You know, we think we're making progress in some area of our life spiritually or in righteousness, and then we realize, my goodness, underneath, my motives, my attitudes are so far. You know, it's the Apostle Paul. I mean, he said it. He said, I'm a sinner. And then towards the end of his life, he said, "I'm the chief of sinners." The longer we've lived, and we've read so many of the great spiritual followers of Jesus over the years who've kind of said, the closer I get to him, the more unholy I realize I really am. The more I realize I haven't got it all together. Well, if he isn't the God of those who don't have it all together, then the more we follow him, the more we enter into despair. No, no, no. We need to turn that around and realize that the more we realize we don't have it all together, the more we realize that he is the one who embraces us. Just as we sang that old song so many times in church when I was growing up, just as I am, without one plea. I don't have one thing to recommend me to him. Just as I am, without one plea. But that's how I can come, because he embraces those who don't have it all together. I hope that encourages your heart today. It does mine. And it makes it so much easier to be open and honest with God about my failures and my untogetherness. I hope it does for you too, because that's who he is. Jesus revealed that Father to us, the one who embraces those who don't have it all together. God bless. We'll talk again tomorrow.